We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Hey and Beis and Meseches Eruvin. This is Eruvin Daf 35b. The Mishnah had said, let's say you're not sure whether the Eruv burned before Shabbos or after Shabbos already started, so it's a suffix. Or let's say you're not sure whether it was Truma. Let's say the Eruv was Truma, and you're not sure whether it became Tameh again before Shabbos or after Shabbos. So it was a machlokus in such a case of suffix, whether we go l'chumra, was strict, and we say it's not a good Eruv, or whether we go l'kula. So we have the case of burn, l'hodiacha kochud Rabbi Yossi, to tell you the strength of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi is lenient by a suffix Eruv, even in a situation where it's not even around anymore. Rashi says, da'afagav de'eno ba'olam lo mitzar, even though it's not in the world anymore, he still says it's okay, suffix by an Eruv, we go l'kula. And Tana Truma v'nitmis lo diacha kochud Rabbi Meir. Similarly, the Gemara says the reason why we have a case of Truma that became Tameh, and again, it's a suffix, whether it happened before Shabbos started or after Shabbos began, so that shows us the strength of Rabbi Meir, that he's strict in that case, even though it is still here, it is right in front of us. Why don't we use chazaka? We say ben hashmashas, put it on its chazaka. The kodem lachein tahora. I say it was tar before ben hashmashas. We should use the chazaka. Afilu hachi lo amin chazaka lekula. Rabbi Meir says, still no, we don't say chazaka to go lekula. We are machmer when it comes to eruv. So the Gemara now says, v'savar Rabbi Meir sveika lechumer. Does Rabbi Meir really say in a situation where you have chazaka on your side and you have a suffix that you go lechumer in this case? But Tanan, we have a Mishnah which says, tamei sheyar litvo. Let's say someone who's tamei goes to immerse himself in a mikvah, suffix taval, suffix lo taval. There's a doubt, did he immerse or did he not immerse? V'afilu taval, suffix taval bar boim sa, suffix lo taval bar boim sa. Even if he did immerse, we're not sure if it was 40 sa or not. We're not sure if it was a kosher mikvah. V'chein shnei mikvos, and also let's say you have two mikvos. B'achas yesh bar boim sa, one of them has 40 sa. V'achas ein bar boim sa, one of them doesn't have. V'taval b'achas mehan, again he went into one of them. V'einu yodeya be'ezami, and taval, he doesn't know which one. Sveiko tameh. In all these cases, suffix we say tameh. When is this true? Betuma chamura. This is true by tuma that is strict, meaning tuma midoraisa. Avo betuma kala. But let's say he's only tameh on a derabanan level. Could go and shachal ochlan tameh, and he ate food which was tameh. V'shasa mashkin tameh, or he drank drinks which are tameh. V'habo rosho v'ruba b'mayim she'uvin. A person who his head and the majority of his body came into drawn water. That's another case where the rabbanan say you have a tuma derabanan. O shenaflo al rosho v'ruba shlosha lugan mayim shuvin, or it fell onto his head and the majority of his body 3 lug of mayim shuvin. All of these cases are derabanan types of tumah which are brought up in Meseches Shabbos. V'yorad litvol, and again in these cases he's got this tumah midrabanan and he goes to immerse himself. Suffix tavel, suffix lo tavel. There's a doubt whether he immersed or not. V'afilu tavel, and even if he did immerse, suffix tavel be'arboim sa, suffix lo tavel be'arboim sa. There's a suffix whether he did it in arboim sa or not. V'chein shnei mikvos, and similarly you have 2 mikvos. B'achas yesh be'arboim sa, one of them had 40 sa. V'achas ein be'arboim sa, one of them did not. V'tavel be'achas, man, he went in one of them. V'eini odeh be'ezam, and tavel, he doesn't know which one he went into. Sveiko tar. In all of these cases, we say that it's a suffix and it is tahor in these cases, and presumably, as Rashi says, Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir. So you see that in these cases, he says no. We assume in a situation of doubt, we don't know whether or not what he did was b'shas tefillah, whether it was good or not. So we say it's good. And Rabbi Yossi mitame, Rabbi Yossi says tame. So this does seem to be a contradiction. Rabbi Meir over here is saying that in a situation of doubt, we're allowed to be lenient and assume that the guy is tar. So the Gemara answers, Kasav Rabbi Meir, Tchum in Doraisa. And in a simple answer, Rabbi Meir holds the concept of Tchum is the Midoraisa. Of course, Rabbi Meir was lenient in the case of the mikvah. That was talking about Tchum Midrabanan. But if you're talking about something that's Doraisa, like Eruv Tchumin, according to Rabbi Meir, he would be strict. So the Gemara says, is that really true? V'savar Rabbi Meir tchum in doraisa. Does Rabbi Meir really hold tchum as doraisa? But we learned in a Mishnah, meino yachol lahavlio. Let's say he's not able to absorb the distance. Bazu amar Rabbi Dustoi bariana mishum Rabbi Meir. In this particular case, Rabbi Dustoi says in the name of Rabbi Meir, Shamati, I heard shemekadrin baharim, that you can pierce the measurement when it comes to mountains. What this is talking about is you're measuring the tchum of a city. You're trying to see where the tchum of a city extends to. How far does it go? Now, normally, the way they would measure the tchum of a city is they would take ropes of 50 amos, and they would keep moving 50 amos at a time to measure 2,000 amos from the edge of the city. And there is a halacha that you're allowed to do something called havla. What havla means is, let's say you have an area which is let's say a little valley, or maybe a little pit, you'll call it, or something like that. So if the 50 amos, if the width of that dip in the land is 50 amos or less, and you can have one person stand on one side and another person stand on the other side of this canyon or whatever it is, so then it only counts as 50 amos. You don't measure all the distance of the canyon down and up, which would be much larger. You just measure from one end to the other, because it's a gap of less than 50 amos. That's the halach of havla. If the gap is more than 50 amos, you have to start measuring. But if the gap is more than 50 amos, there is one leniency you can use, which is called mekadron. Mekadron means you take a 4 amma rope, and instead of measuring every 4 amos as you go down and back up the canyon, you can measure it in the following fashion, where the guy standing lower, he holds the rope kind of by his heart, and the guy standing up on the canyon, he holds it by his feet. That makes the distance just a little bit less, and you'll get more. You'll be able to extend your tchum a little more in that fashion. If everyone was holding the rope in the same place, then it's going to take more rope to get to the end, and you're going to reach the end earlier. So that's called mekadron baharim. So the point is, the entire point of bringing this is that Rabbi Meir here is saying that when it comes to eruv tchum, you're allowed to be lenient by using this idea of mekadron baharim. Now, if you really think that Rabbi Meir holds tchum is doraisa, mi mekadron, are you allowed to use the leniency of measuring in this fashion? V'ha Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rabbi Bar Avua. But Rav Nachman said in the name of Rabbi Bar Avua, ein mekadron, that you're not allowed to use this measurement leniency. Lo ba'orei miklat v'lo ba'egla rufa. You can't use it by orei miklat. You can't use it by egla rufa mimnesha ein shel Torah, because they are doraisas. By orei miklat, they would also measure the tchum, because the halacha is, not only does the city of refuge, not only does the ir miklat protect somebody who kills by mistake, the tchum of the ir miklat also protects. So they would have to measure. And again, here you're not allowed to use this leniency, this measurement leniency. Same thing by egla rufa. Egla rufa, you'd have to measure. Let's say someone died, you have to measure which city he died closest to, because then that city has to bring an egla rufa, because somebody left their city or somebody died on the road close to their city. So again, that measurement cannot be done in this lenient fashion, because it's doraisa. So you see that if you're using this kind of measurement by eruv tchumen, it must be derabanan. So the Gemara says, lo kasha, that's not difficult. Hadi day, hadi rabbe. There's his own opinion and there's his Rebbe's opinion, and the Gemara proves it. Dekanami will prove it. To Katani bazu amar Rabbi Dustar Baryane mishum Rabbi Meir shamati shemekadron baharim. Rabbi Meir said, I heard that you're allowed to use this leniency. Rabbi Meir himself held tchum is doraisa. You're not allowed to use the leniency, but he heard from his Rebbeim, they held that tchum is derabanan. They held that you're allowed to do this. Shema amina. You see from this. So in other words, it could be that Rabbi Meir really holds that tchum is doraisa. The Gemara still says v'rami doraisa adoraisa Rabbi Meir, but I can still have a contradiction between another doraisa case according to Rabbi Meir. Again, Rabbi Meir here by tchum is saying it's doraisa by a suffix erev, you have to be machmir. We have another scenario by a doraisa where Rabbi Meir says if you have a chazaka and a suffix, you're allowed to be lenient. The Tanan we learned in the Mishnah, naga be'echad balayla. Let's say a person touches at night, he touches somebody at night, he doesn't know if the particular person he touched, was alive at the time he touched him, or was he dead? In the morning he wakes up, he finds that this person who he touched is dead now, so he's not sure. Is he tahor or is he tameh? Did he touch a dead body, or can he presume that the person was alive? Rabbi Meir mitayr v'chacham mitamin. Rabbi Meir says tar, the chacham say tameh, shekol atmeos kashas mitziyasin. According to the chacham, you go by how it's found. Right now we found the person dead, we assume dead. Rabbi Meir though says no. This person has a chazaka. He has a chazaka that he's not tameh, and therefore, even though it's a suffix doraisa, we can say stay by your chazaka that you were actually not tameh. Rashi here says Rabbi Meir mitar. The chazaka is not that he was tar. The chazaka, is that this person had a chazaka, he was alive. Yesterday, when all of this started, when they all went to bed the night before, this guy was alive. You can say that up until the last possible moment he was alive, use the chazaka lakula. So anyways, you see that by a doraisa, you're allowed to use the chazaka lakula. So the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah says, Mishnah Seinu, you know what our Mishnah, the case in our Mishnah is, Shahaya aleh sheretz kol ben hashmashos, that the sheretz, tamei item which was on the truma that made it tamei, it was there the entire bein hashmashas. So therefore, you know for sure that it was tamei mi be'od yom. Problem is, then it's not a suffix anymore. So the Gemara asks, Yachi, if that's true, B'hal Leimer Rabbi Yossi's suffix erev kosher. Why would Rabbi Yossi say in that case that it's a suffix so you could say kosher? It's not a suffix at all. The sheretz is touching this food, this erev, the entire bein hashmashas. So the Gemara answers an interesting answer. Rabbi and Rav Yosef Darmi Tarvayu. Rabbi and Rav Yosef both say Hacha b'shtei kitei edem askinan. The case in our Mishnah actually is where you have two sets of witnesses. Achas omeres mi ba'od yom nitzma v'achas omeres mi shechashecha. One set of witnesses say this happened before Shabbos, and therefore you have to be strict. And one say that it happened after Shabbos already started, so you can be lenient and say the erev is good. So that's a situation where Rabbi Meir is going to be strict. Even though normally Rabbi Meir will say you can follow chazaka even by a doraisa and be lenient, in this case where you have two edim, he's going to say to be strict, and Rashi explains why. Achas omeres mi v'od yom u'v'ha pligi. Here is the machlokas. Rabbi Yossi savar ukitrei levahade trei. Rabbi Yossi says take these two witnesses against the other two witnesses. V'uki truma chazaka kamaisa, and you can say that the truma goes on its original chazaka. The two edim effectively cancel each other out, and we have a chazaka that this truma was tar. V'chiyancha tahor have. At the time you place this down, it was tar. Rabbi Meir savar kevan diga kas the mifka leme chazake. Rabbi Meir holds, since you have a set of witnesses who say, no, this chazaka is wrong, this item is actually tamei, besveika doraisa lo eslina basar chazaka. You can't follow chazaka anymore, because you really have a chazaka and a set of edim against another set of edim. And the chazaka is nothing against the set of edim. It's really just now two edim against each other. Aval benogea bechad balayla. But in the case where you touch somebody at night, there's no edim that are saying that the chazaka is bad. So mukminan le kol alayla becheskaso. You say the whole night he had a chazaka, he was tar, or he was alive. Uvas or shas mitziyaso. And then later on, after he touched him, then you say that's when he died. Lo as lina dikalamemer hashtu demais. You can always say that he died later on. There you can use the chazaka because you don't have edim against the chazaka. We'll continue this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Vav Amud Aleph.